A big change in the weather is urgently needed in Manitoba's wildfire zone. Right now, high heat, strong winds, and extreme fire conditions are driving the flames. The wildfires are forcing hundreds of people out of their homes. 5 major fires are burning out of control in the province of Manitoba, and authorities confirm 2 people were found dead inside that evacuation zone. It's near Lac du Bonnet, a community in the southeastern part of the province, about 100 kilometers from Winnipeg. Linda Ward, lot to follow with this early start to the fire season. Let's begin with the latest that we're getting out of Manitoba, and in particular on the Lac du Bonnet fire. What are officials saying?
Yes, very sad news. RCMP confirming that they found the bodies of a man and a woman who were trapped in that fire. And we're showing you some video now of the fire itself in the Lac du Bonnet area, and we have heard that there's this Wendigo Beach area. This is where the couple was found. Buildings, homes, cottages in this area have been lost in the fire. Hundreds have already been forced out of the community. Through the day on Tuesday, this fire quickly grew to 4,000 hectares in size. RCMP say the conditions were so extreme that emergency personnel just weren't even able to get into the location safely until yesterday morning, and that's when they made the discovery.
Very saddened to share that earlier this morning, officers with the Manitoba RCMP recovered 2 bodies believed to be an adult male and female just off Wendigo Road in the arm of Lac du Bonnet. It is believed they succumbed to injuries sustained in the wildfire. While we cannot confirm their identities until an autopsy is completed, we were aware that these individuals have been trapped in the fire. Due to extreme conditions yesterday afternoon, emergency personnel were not able to reach the location until this morning. This has been an incredibly challenging time for the community, and no doubt today's tragic news will make it even more difficult.
And the Reeve of Lac du Bonnet describes this as a very, very close-knit community. They can't confirm the identities of those who died until the autopsy is done. There are no further reports of any other people who are unaccounted for at this point. Search and rescue units are on the scene. The RCMP are also at 3 checkpoints along the local highway, only emergency vehicles being allowed in to the area. All residents are being asked to avoid this area just to allow emergency personnel to do their work.
So this is just one of 5 fires I was mentioning, Linda, which is considered out of control in Manitoba right now. What about the others? What are you watching there?
Yeah, well, we're watching 6 communities that are actually under a state of emergency at this point in time, and a number of evacuation orders that are underway. So many communities that have been told it's better to safely leave right now. We've got hot weather conditions into the high 30s, dry conditions, windy conditions. 5 listed as out of control, including Lac du Bonnet near Nopaming Provincial Park. This is along the Ontario border. This started with a lightning strike just on Monday. 100,000 hectares as of yesterday. In the rural municipality of Piney, that grew to about 7,000 hectares, at least 2 structures destroyed there. Crews now setting up sprinklers to protect homes in that community. West Leebow, about 50 kilometers west of Lac du Bonnet, about 5,000 hectares in size, that fire. And on the other side of the province, one that we've been following since May 3rd, now estimated at about 42,000 hectares in size. But I also want to mention another fire, a separate fire that is out of control along the Manitoba-Ontario boundary near Ingolf in the Kenora area. That spread across the border, 23,000 hectares in size now. And that means that Whiteshell Provincial Park, as of 9 o'clock this morning, is going to be closing down to all park users. Now, this includes full-time cottagers, residents who live there, and campers as well, who have to leave by 1 o'clock. That's continuing until at least Wednesday. This is the 7th Manitoba Provincial Park that is closing down due to the fires over the Victoria Day long weekend, which is one of the busiest parts of the season. Manitoba's wildfire service says typically they don't get this kind of wildfire activity until much later in the season.
We are looking at obviously very challenging conditions. So we have hot weather right now. We have dry conditions. We have had some very windy days, and we expect that to continue, today as well as into tomorrow.
And we know there is some rain expected, some cooler temperatures, but they don't expect that to be enough to really give crews enough of a help in fighting these fires. Of course, lightning always remains a risk. We were talking about one of the fires that was started by a lightning strike just on Monday, and then strong winds again that are coming in that are not going to be helping those firefighters.
Okay, Linda, thank you very much. Hour by hour, you're going to be bringing us the latest information. Linda, talking about the states of emergency that are in place and the evacuation orders affecting many communities. Let's hear from someone who has had to move to get to safety. Marilyn Brick is with me from Seven Sisters Falls. Marilyn, thank you for being on our broadcast. Let me ask you, first of all, how are you in the midst of all of this?
Sad and stressed.
Sad and stressed. That sums it all up for sure. But you're safe.
Yeah.
Sad, stressed, but safe.
Yes. On Monday, we evacuated from our cottage. Our cottage is located at Ingolf, Ontario. And we are what is called legacy cottagers. That particular community is 3 kilometers over the Manitoba-Ontario border, and an out-of-control fire started. And everybody was evacuated within about an hour and a half of the fire starting.
And was it close to you in terms of proximity? We've had some stories of pretty dramatic escapes. How did your move to safety go?
Well, this is 2 small lakes joined together. We actually saw the fire start. The fire went from a small puff of smoke to being 100 hectares in size within 2 hours. So we knew this was going to be a very, very traumatic situation. Our drive out was all right because we got out quickly. When you do get out, you don't have much time. We took medications for our dogs, took our 2 dogs, and my husband and I left. My brother, his wife, his son, and their grandchildren all left. Everything is pretty traumatic when that happens.
Absolutely. And for children, really not having a full understanding of why this is going on, that must have been challenging for them.
You bet. And I just want to give a big shout out to the volunteer firefighters who are there fighting the fire, and to the Manitoba Ministry, the Ontario Ministry of Natural Resources, who are manning the water bombers who are fighting the fire. The fire is huge. It's 23,000 hectares now. So it's grown really quickly, and that fire is probably the one that's putting a lot of Manitoba at risk in southeast Manitoba.
And it's dry, and the winds are whipping things up, so there's all sorts of conditions at play. Do you, Marilyn,
have... Heather,
yeah, go ahead.
Heather, I'm currently in Seven Sisters Falls, which is about 20 kilometers away from Lac du Bonnet, where this is where we reside, where the fires happen. And I'm so sorry for the people who've lost their life, and so sorry for the people who are the family. You're very traumatized when that happens. I just want to say that the smoke is really thick here, and in addition, there's thunder happening here,
which can always lead to, in storms, can touch off more fires. So it can be a relief in some ways, but, it holds its own damage and risk at the same time. I was going to ask you how you felt. I've talked a lot about very damaging fires. It's always such a gift when no one is seriously injured or certainly dies. And this is a case where we've already had 2 people lost in this. Speaks to all sorts of things.
I guess the other thing is there's so much an emotional connection to a cottage. What happens is that your whole life is tied up there. Your whole family memories are tied up there. So it's a huge loss for your family. In my case, there's 3 cottages that are all connected together. My sister, our cottage, and then my family cottage. So it's all there. Everything's there. And it's very challenging when you feel that that's going to be gone.
Do you know, Marilyn, if it's still standing, if things are intact still?
As far as I know, some cottages have been lost out there. I don't know the details. I just know that there have been a few cottages lost out there. And there are firefighters out there that are manning pumps and saving cottages.
Well, I will hope for yours, certainly. In the meantime, As you gather, I mean, you have a particular, I bet, awareness of all of this, a former MLA for the riding of St. Norbert, I believe, in Manitoba.
Yes.
So you've been through crises and been through handling and managing these crises. No wonder you're so aware of the firefighters and everyone who's responding in such an urgent fashion.
Yeah, I think the other thing that I really want to get across to people is that they need to be cognizant of changing their plans this weekend. I know it's the long weekend. I know everybody loves the long weekend and they love cottage country. You can't come out to cottage country right now. I'm sorry for people that they're going to lose this weekend. The RCMP are stopping people from entering cottage country, and that people need to be aware of that. The provincial park is closed on the north side. The provincial park is closed on the south side in the Whiteshell Park.
7, in fact, provincial parks throughout Manitoba are closed, and that will be something that's hard for many people to accept, but it's a pretty serious situation. Meantime, just again, where you are in Seven Sisters Falls, are you okay and safe? Is it family or accommodation, or are you together at least, Marilyn?
I'm here with my husband and our 2 dogs, so we're safe. We're okay. We have a great community here. We have lots of supporting neighbors around us. Right now, we're safe. If we have to leave, we will leave. We've done it before, we'll do it again. We have to get our go pack ready, you know, your important things, your passports, your medications, your couple change of t-shirts, and you know, the really important things have to be packed and ready to go.
Well, you know, that's an important reminder to everyone watching our conversation, because here we are, just early days of the wildfire season, and we're seeing in your story how quickly things can whip up and change. Is there an indication that the fire is on the way to where you are now safe and where you might have to evacuate again?
As far as I know, it's being held. As far as I know, from what I understand, they have concentrated on the Lac du Bonnet area and not as much on the Nopalming Park area. In Ontario border area, so I'm talking about 2 different fires here. In where I live, it looks like the Lac du Bonnet area is being held right now. At the Ontario border, no, it's out of control.
5 all out of control in the province right now, and others as well of concern. Marilyn, thank you for the time today. Again, our hopes for the cottage. Very pleased that you are in safety. That's the most important thing, you and your family, and we'll be in touch to follow through in the story with you. Thanks for the time today. Yes.
Thank you for spending time with me, and thank you for everything you do on CBC. I follow you guys all the time.
Well, we really appreciate that. We always want to be in touch with people who are right at the center of stories, and thank you for making yourself available to us, Marilyn. Really appreciate it under a lot of stressful circumstances. Sad and stressed. I'm going to take that away. It sums it up so well today. Marilyn Brick from Seven Sisters Falls in Manitoba.